We chose this approach because we were really looking for a way to start a conversation about how we might reimagine a new journey, a new way for us. And I just happened to be at a conference last year where Mark Brown and I were sitting beside each other, and he started talking to me about this new and exciting endeavor that he and two of his colleagues had been a part of. And so as he talked, it was just really providential for me, because I immediately thought this would be a perfect fit for us at Thrasher. So we chose the approach as I started to look at the curriculum, primarily because the curriculum allowed us to enter into a biblical story, and for our congregation, entering into a really familiar story was a perfect way for us to really imagine our brothers and sisters from long ago who journeyed through ups and downs and new possibilities. And so for us, the fact that we had a biblical story to immerse ourselves in was a perfect opportunity. I think one of the most important things for us as we started the study is that the biblical story and the way the curriculum was written gave us some language, some common language to talk about struggles, to talk about new possibilities within that biblical story. And so the language in terms of, for instance, talking about the giants that we faced gave all of the groups that were participating an understanding of here's our new common ground. Instead of talking about it in a more negative way, it gave us a language that fit right into the story. Another thing that we actually were working with last year when we started this study is that we were already preparing to embark on a really big initiative within our community in our town pool. And while most of our people weren't aware of that yet, the concept of moving beyond the walls of our church was perfect preparation for our people, so that when that information became public, it was, aha, this is part of what it looks like to move beyond the walls of your congregation. I think one of the greatest learnings for those who were the most intensely involved in the study was coming to the realization that we can make a choice about whether we're going to overcome our giants or not. It really has to do with whether we're willing to be intentional in our choices and make the choices, take the intentional steps that will lead us to the promised land. And so by simply realizing that, we made some progress in being empowered and courageous enough to move into an envisioned future that looked more like God's promised land. One of the biggest challenges for us in our church family is being strong enough to grow beyond what we know. Thrasher Church is a church that's been around for over 200 years, and so there's a lot of history here, and there are a lot of patterns here that have comforted people for many, many years. And when we as the people of God began to imagine a new reality and compare it with maybe our current reality or the perceived reality, one of the learnings that we had was to certainly realize that we can grow beyond what we know. We can grow beyond what we know if we are courageous enough to look at our current reality, to name the challenges or the giants that we have together, and if we realize that if we're willing to make choices that will make us move in the same direction as one people, that indeed we will be able to move closer to the promised land.